Walk into any modern sports bar or corporate lobby today, and you are just surrounded by these massive, seamless, interactive video walls.
Oh, yeah, they look like magic, honestly.
Right. But the secret behind that magic is actually, well, it's this tiny 1.3-pound black box hiding right behind the glass. So today's deep dive takes us through a product page from HDTV Supply for the BrightSign XD236.
Right.
Because our mission today is to uncover the hidden hardware that is actually running the visual world around you.
Yeah, we usually focus entirely on the screens themselves, just completely ignoring the sheer computing power required to keep those commercial displays running 24/7.
Oh, totally.
But the XT236 is a really perfect case study in edge computing architecture.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because pushing a single 10-bit 4K video at 60 frames per second, alongside like interactive HTML5 2D motion graphics, that requires serious processing.
It really does.
I mean, it's basically a miniature IMAX projector. Normally, a standard desktop handling that kind of heavy H.265 decoding needs spinning fans and a bulky heatsink.
Massive fans.
Yeah. But this device is completely fanless and barely an inch thick. How does it manage that thermal load without just throttling or melting?
Well, what's fascinating here is the dedicated neural processing unit, or NPU.
Okay, an NPU.
Yeah, so in a typical consumer setup, your main processor gets completely bogged down trying to juggle high-res video rendering, interactive touch layers, and background tasks all at once.
Which generates massive heat.
Exactly. But the XT236 uses the NPU to offload localized AI tasks and predictive processing. By compartmentalizing that workload, the main video rendering chips run incredibly efficiently.
So the overall thermal footprint stays near zero.
Right, and that flawless integration is crucial. If someone touches a screen to navigate a catalog, even a microsecond of lag breaks the immersion.
Yeah, you need that zero latency feel.
Yeah.
The hardware has to be hyper-focused on keeping those high-def assets fluid.
And that localized efficiency completely dictates how it manages data, too. Pushing 4K takes immense bandwidth.
Sure.
But relying on a constant cloud stream across an enterprise network is just asking for bottlenecks. Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The spec sheet notes a 256 gigabyte internal drive. And, I mean, 256 gigs sounds like a smartphone from 3 years ago. Is that actually enough storage for commercial 4K signage?
It sounds small, but for targeted looping digital media, it's massive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, rather than seeing that as a limitation, when you pair it with advanced H.265 compression, a 256 gig localized drive means a business can cache weeks of dynamic looping 4K content directly on the edge.
Oh, so it doesn't need to constantly ping the cloud.
Exactly, which saves massive amounts of enterprise bandwidth. That localized caching is a totally strategic infrastructure choice.
Makes sense.
And speaking of physical infrastructure, we really have to factor in power over Ethernet Plus, or PoE Plus.
Right.
Instead of paying an electrician to install traditional wall outlets behind every single display in a building.
Which would cost a fortune.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
PoE Plus is like using the plumbing to also deliver electricity. You run one single Cat6 cable that handles both the gigabit data connection and the power supply. That is so smart. And they've built in redundancy for when things inevitably go wrong, too. There's a 14-day real-time clock on board.
Right.
So if the store's network drops, that localized storage and the internal clock keep the screens perfectly synced for 2 whole weeks without an internet connection.
Which really shifts the conversation from purely technical specs to the deployment strategy.
Yeah, because great specs are useless if the hardware is too bulky or, expensive to deploy across dozens of retail locations.
Exactly. The entire physical footprint is just 8.1 by 7.3 inches and less than an inch thick.
It's thinner than a standard paperback book.
Yeah. Because it's fanless, there are no moving parts to break, and it simply vanishes into the wall mount behind the display.
So what does this all mean for the user? Evaluating this from a commercial perspective, looking at the $650 price tag and its 4.7-star rating on HDTV Supply.
Well, the value proposition isn't just about buying a capable media player. The real value is operational scale.
Right.
Think about a retail chain deploying 5,000 screens globally. At that scale, a device that draws minimal power via Ethernet, requires zero dedicated cooling, and avoids expensive physical maintenance strips.
What the industry calls truck rolls.
Yes, avoiding those truck rolls saves the company millions in operational overhead. The upfront hardware cost is trivial compared to the long-term savings of an integrated network that just works.
The stellar reviews really reflect its status as a silent workhorse. Well, the next time you see a stunning interactive display in a store, you'll know there isn't a bulky PC stuffed in a closet somewhere.
No, definitely not.
It's likely a hidden, ultra-thin powerhouse like the XD236 right behind the monitor.
It definitely leaves you wondering about the trajectory of localized edge computing.
For sure.
I mean, if an inch-thick device can flawlessly manage 10-bit 4K video and interactive HTML5 today.
Right, utilizing its onboard MPU.
Yeah.
What will digital signage look like when these local edge processors stop just playing preloaded loops and start generating personalized real-time AI content on the fly as you walk by?
Oh, wow.
Just something to think about next time a digital billboard catches your eye.